I want to take a second today to address a question I've been getting via email and in my live chat last night. I've actually been getting this question quite a bit since yesterday afternoon. I did touch on it in my live chat last night when I was asked by a couple of people, but I wanted to make a video today addressing it a little bit more publicly. And that question is, what do I think of the resource officer on the Florida campus during the shooting a little over a week ago who did not enter the building when he had the chance to confront the shooter? Well, to put it lightly, there's very few words I can think of that would describe how I feel. It sickens me. It's disgusting. Now, I am someone who firmly believes that when danger strikes or tragedy strikes, you take care of your own first and then take care of other people if you can. But this was someone whose job it was to protect these children. This wasn't a civilian at the mall. This was a police officer charged with a duty of taking care of these children. And while this shooting was taking place, he chose to stand outside the door like a coward for 4 minutes. They said he stood there for at least 4 minutes. Now, that might not sound like a lot of time, but keep in mind, this entire shooting took a little over 5 minutes. In 5 minutes, this person was able to rob 17 young people of their lives. In 5 minutes. If after the first minute, this resource officer would have gone in and done his job to any level of competency, just wounded him or confronted him or distracted him while people got away, don't you think that number would have been greatly reduced? Just if he'd have done his job? I definitely think it would have been. And I think this person is not only a poor example of a police officer, he's a poor example of a human being. I can't imagine anybody else that could have stood out there and listened to that, who was armed and could have fought back, but chose not to. It just baffles me. It angers me and it baffles me. Now, this is another reason why I'm saying, for people who say, oh, but that's cool, a security guard didn't do any good. No, they didn't have a security guard. They had a fake. They had a fraud. They had a person who doesn't even, he's just a waste of skin, period. That's what they had. If they'd have had a couple of teachers that were armed, I said this in my live chat last night, and President Trump said it again today. Maybe you watched my live chat, because he pretty much said exactly what I said, that the teachers would have acted because they care about the students. This coward only cared about himself, obviously. Now, he's since resigned, because people ask me, do I think he should be fired? Well, he resigned, so he doesn't have to be fired. But I think he should be punished in much stricter ways than just being allowed to resign. As far as I'm concerned, he's complicit in this. But, it doesn't matter what I think. It matters what the law says. But if I was one of those parents, I'd be wanting to hold him accountable. So I'm going to leave that up to all of them and up to him. He has to live with himself. And if he's any type of person, he's got any type of conscience, I think he's going to have a hard time doing that. So I think he deserves much stricter punishment than just resigning. And as for these two officers that were covering for him, this cover up in the sheriff's department, they need to be gone and never work in law enforcement again or any type of government service or social service or just public service. So they need to be gone also because they were trying to cover it up, that thin blue line garbage. So to that sheriff who's out there on CNN talking about how we need to do something and young people are going to do something, well, you need to do something. You need to take care of your own house because it's obviously lacking. So maybe you should shut your mouth and get to work doing your job, because it doesn't seem like you've been doing a very good job of it if this is an example of your department, these three officers. So I just wanted to answer that question because I just think it is heinous that this happened. I think it's heinous that he didn't step in. I can't imagine not going in that door. I don't think most of you could imagine not going in that door while that was happening, especially since he was distracted. Target practice. I mean, how hard would it have been to confront him with a little bit of an element of surprise? He wasn't expecting to be confronted with a gun. So that's all I've got to say about it. I just think it is one of the worst things. This whole event is a series of people failing, from teachers to law enforcement to social services to parents, friends, the FBI, And now this worthless human being that stood there and listened to it happen, even though they had the ability to try and stop it and chose not to out of fear and cowardice. So this could have been stopped. This guy could have been the guy that at least lessened it after everybody else failed, but he didn't. He chose to save his own neck, and as far as I'm concerned, he's not worth a lick of spit. He is a worthless human being, and that's how I feel about it.